Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán intends to make several surprise visits next week, just like the one he made to Moscow. The politician also shared his impressions of his meeting with Putin. According to the Hungarian Prime Minister, the Russian president is a super-rational man who rules a real empire. He is imperturbable, cautious, punctual and disciplined. Orbán's sudden trip to Russia was discussed by almost all foreign media. The Hungarian Prime Minister came to Russia on his own initiative to discuss a peaceful settlement of the Ukrainian crisis. The visit was not planned. The Hungarian side had requested a meeting just the day before. The conversation with Vladimir Putin lasted almost 3 hours, after which the leaders went to the press and Putin said that Russia is open to diplomatic dialogue, but apparently Kiev is not ready for it. Vladimir Putin, Russian President Ukraine's sponsors continue to try to use this country and its people as a battering ram, a victim in the confrontation with Russia. As we see the state of affairs, including what we heard today from Mr. Prime Minister, Kiev is still not ready to give up the idea of waging a war to the victorious end. In my opinion, the Kiev regime does not allow the very idea of cessation of hostilities, because in this case the pretext for extending martial law disappears, and if the martial law has to be lifted, it means that the elections, which were not held on time, will have to be held as well. But the chances of winning them for the Ukrainian rulers, who have lost their ratings and legitimacy, are close to zero. The question now is not even how to negotiate, but with whom. Zelensky, according to the Ukrainian constitution, is already illegitimate. That is why in Astana, where the SCO summit was held this week, journalists asked Putin a question: should we go directly to the Verkhovna Rada? According to the law, power should be transferred to the Verkhovna Rada. Putin said that most of the Rada is subordinate to the ruling elite, and therefore it makes no sense to decide anything with it. Putin also answered directly and clearly to the question about the possibility of a ceasefire on the part of Russia. Vladimir Putin, we cannot allow that after the ceasefire the enemy will use this ceasefire to improve its situation, to arm itself, to complete its army with the help of forced mobilization and to be ready to continue the armed conflict. We need to ensure that the opposing side agrees to take steps that are irreversible and acceptable to the Russian Federation. And that is why it is impossible to propose a ceasefire without reaching this agreement. Putin reiterated that Russia has repeatedly offered to return to negotiations based on realities and emphasized that Moscow is ready to consider all proposals, including recent statements by former U.S. President Donald Trump. Vladimir Putin, the fact that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate, says that he is ready and willing to stop the war in Ukraine, we take this quite seriously. I'm not familiar, of course, with his possible proposals on how he's going to do that, and that is, of course, a key question. But I have no doubt that he says it sincerely, and we support it.